Welcome to another episode of NCI Tech Tips. My name is Brian, and I'm here today to show you how to overclock the new Haswell CPUs featuring the three most popular Z87 boards from Gigabyte, ASUS, and MSI. Now, there are 5 things to go over to overclock a Haswell CPU. First, we've got your multiplier, which is the ratio of your clock. Next, we've got the cache ratio, which is brand new to Haswell. These by default are 1-to-1 to your actual CPU ratio. You have the option of downclocking it to stabilize the system. Next, we have the V-core, which is the amount of power going into your processor. And then we have load line, which is the precision of the juice going into your processor. And then we have the memory setting, which is the speed, timing, and the voltage of it. Alternatively, if you have XMP RAM, you just set XMP on by default and it'll set everything for you. The very first board we're going to do is the ASUS Z87A. So we're in the ASUS UEFI BIOS right now. All your settings are in AI Tweaker, so just head on over. First up, we've got the AI Overclock Tuner. Right now it's set at auto. So what we want is actually XMP because our DRAM is actually XMP certified. So go down here, we've got the CPU core ratio. So what we want is sync all cores. So for this example, we're going to do 42, which will set it at 4.2 gigahertz. Right here we've got the max and min cache ratio. So as previously mentioned, automatic actually sets it at 1-to-1 to your CPU core ratio. Now if we want maximum system stability, we want to downclock it a little bit to like 40 or 38. But for this example, we want maximum performance, so we're going to do 42 and leave it at that. Down here we've got the DRAM timing. So XMP actually sets all this for me in the BIOS. For our pack of RAM, the timing is 999242. You can check your timing on your RAM on your package or on the actual little label on the RAM sticks itself. Down here we have Digi Plus VRM. So for a load line calibration, it goes from level 1 all the way to level 8. So for 4.2, we want to do about level 3, which should give a little bit more precise V-core when it upclocks itself. Then we have CPU core voltage. Right now it's set at auto, but it won't really work if we overclock it. So we want to do manual, and most examples will do about 1.2, which sets it at a very safe level. For this one, we want to do a little bit lower because our sample is actually really good. Well, not 111 because that'll blow it up. So 1.18 is what we want. And last but not least, we have DRAM voltage. Again, XMP sets it for us at default, which is 1.5. For your pack of RAM, it might be 1.35 for Eco, 1.5 for Standard, or 1.65 for High Performance. So you want to check that on your label again. Next up, we've got the MSI Z87 G45 gaming motherboard. So this is the MSI Z87 G45 gaming motherboard with their signature of dragon on the front. It's called the ClickBIOS 4 for the 4th generation. For all your settings, you want to be in the overclocking settings. So first things first, we want to adjust the CPU ratio. For this example, again 4.2 gigahertz, so we want to set this at 42. A little bit lower we have the adjust ring ratio, which is the same thing as your cache ratio. For 1-to-1 performance, we want the best performance, so 42. A little bit lower we have the XMP profile. We want this to be enabled and the timing to be linked so that both the channels timing are identical. So as you can see, it's all auto right now even though I set XMP, but it actually sets it for you once you leave BIOS, but I like to set it manually just in case. So for this memory it's 999241. A little bit lower we have digital power. We want to be in the CPU V-troop offset. So this is the only setting you want to touch, and at 25% it'll be kind of like level 3. So a little bit lower we have the CPU core voltage. For this sample again 1.18 is what we want. And just a bit more we have DRAM voltage. So again it sets it for you once you leave BIOS, but I like to manually set it at 1.5. Last but not least, we've got the Gigabyte Z87X UD3H. Finally, we have the Gigabyte UEFI Dual BIOS. Before we even begin, I just want to say this is the most beautiful UEFI BIOS I've ever seen so far. CPU status and memory status on the left side, system status on the right side. We've got voltage, fan speed, temperatures on the top, and all the information of the BIOS on the bottom. and all of it looks like you're in a spaceship going to go fight stuff and you're going to go kill some Zergs or something. Anyways, I went ahead into the Performance tab, into the Frequency sub-tab, and all the way down to CPU clock ratio, for this example, 42 for 4.2 gigahertz. And then when we go to Advanced CPU Core Features, for your Uncore, it's same thing as your ring bus or your cache ratio. So we want to do 1-to-1 for this example, so it's the best performance. Head back up to the Memory sub-tab. We've got the Extreme Memory Profile, which is XMP. We want to enable this to Profile 1. And then we want to do the timing selections to Quick, which links them together. So then XMP actually sets this for you, but again I like to manually set this just in case. So 99924. Channel B is auto because it's linked together. And then back up to the voltage sub-tab. The first one's 3D power control. We want to do the load line calibration. For this one, I'm going to do medium. Shows you a little chart on this side too, which is super cool. Back down, CPU core voltage. So for this sample, 1.18. And then down one more, DRAM voltage. So it sets it for you, but I like to manually set it, 1.5. There you have it. So that's 4.2 on the Gigabyte BIOS. So there you have it, guys. That covers the overclocking 101 from all three major manufacturers, from Gigabyte, MSI, and ASUS. Before we wrap this episode up, there are three things we need to talk about. First things first, save your profile. Every board has this feature, so if it crashes, you can save the setting and it's there when it returns. Second, watch your temperatures and your voltages so you don't overheat it or kill it with excessive voltage. And third, make sure your system is actually stable at stock speeds before you even try to overclock. You can validate this with the video down in the description and make sure it can overclock too. So that pretty much wraps up this episode. Thank you for tuning in and don't forget to subscribe.